Hey everybody, it's Liz with Transform One Idea, where we're always talking about how the smallest shifts can make the biggest change. And if you've been following me lately, you know that I have been both experiencing and facilitating some pretty massive changes around energy, like what's available in my own body and in the bodies of the people that I've been working with. So what we've been talking about is programs that run in the background, like programs run in your computer. You know, they run in the background and they pull your available energy. So where's your energy? Where's it gone? Do you remember when you were a kid and you could play outside all day, probably with no food and maybe no sleep, and it just didn't matter? You just had tons of energy and you could jump around and like, look what I can do. You know, I remember as a kid swimming until 2, 3 in the morning in our swimming pool and getting up the next day and doing it all over again. So why, when you're a kid, do you have all this endless energy? And then as you get older, that energy is drained and drained and drained. Sometimes by a teenager, your energy is starting to already be drained and you're tired. So you would say, okay, well, that's age related. Well, that's what we've been told, that it's age related. But is it always true? Do you know any, let's say, elderly people who seem to have endless energy? And are those people pretty happy? It seems to me like they are. The ones that I know who just have boundless energy into their 80s, even 90s, they're really happy people. So what does that mean? It means that it's not always true that as you get older, your energy has to go because you're aging. It means that maybe there's a happiness factor. So where do we get some of that, right? So I was noticing, even for myself, you know, tired in the morning, tired in the afternoon, and not just tired, just not having the energy to do the things I wanted, to create the things I wanted, not having the emotional and spiritual energy, even though I wanted it and I felt like I, had done the work to have it, but I didn't. So as you guys know, I've been working a lot with Cogno Movement. I've been helping to develop a whole branch of that modality. And we started to notice these massive changes, and we kind of wondered why it was working. We realized that what it is that Cogno Movement has the ability to delete the program. So I got to thinking about that. Like, what does that mean for us as a society and our overall life? So think about this. You had people living in the Greek era and the Roman area, and they're having, parties with wine and food and, all their different gods, and, pretty much anything goes, right? Then we come in with, the Dark Ages happen. Think about that. People's age spans went down to 35, 40 years old. Why? What happened? Their bodies were the same. They should have had all this knowledge that they had from the Greek and the Roman times, and they didn't. And their bodies broke down, and they were susceptible to disease, and they started to die. Why? Is it possible that with the advent of the church growing in a way and telling people that they were a sinner from birth, you couldn't get out of it, that maybe that program started to run in the background? Also, the rise of diseases were that they couldn't cure, didn't know how anymore. You're going to die early anyway. There's poverty. There's not enough food. So maybe all these programs started to drain their life energy and create shorter and shorter lifespans. It's a possibility, right? Now, we're back in a time of all this prosperity again. Now, there's lots and lots of programs around and lots of, distractions, let's say. However, we now have a lifting of that oppressive nature of religion. So lots of people are kicking that to the curb and doing other things. But and quite a few of us do still have that. There's new technology for curing illness and disease, that kind of thing. We have less expectation of having that. So some of those like integral programs have started to lift, and we're living longer and longer. However, we still have the problem of not enough energy in our bodies, and we still do get sick, and we still do age. So what if we could discover which programs, like the key programs, not just any old program, but the key program that started draining our energy. Maybe it's a belief system that we don't even know we have. Maybe it's a belief system that's hiding somewhere in our body and really cranking up the need for power. I mean, it's that thing that gets the what do you call that? That thing outside your house that measures how much energy? I mean, it's just ticking away and it's draining all your energy trying to maintain that negative program. What if you could just in minutes delete it? So we found that's what we can do. And that's what I've experienced in a way that I have energy to do things I never dreamed I could do at this age in my life. I just figured I'm just going to get more and more tired and more disinterested. And it's not true. Here's the thing. I do know which program I removed that gave me a huge amount of energy, but also, here's the big ticket. It actually made me more congruent with my true identity. So I'll share with you what it is. I actually had this little belief system that if I chose one thing, I couldn't choose everything else. I'm super highly options oriented, and my identity is questions, being in the question, wanting to know what else is possible. So if I chose one thing, I didn't have all the other options. And so I never immersed myself fully in anything. I did everything with not enough energy in it in one thing. And that belief kept my energy down. Because you can't move forward if you don't choose something, right? So I eliminated that program and my energy went whoop. And now what's possible for me is so much greater. Now I can figure out how I can choose one thing, work on what's in front of me now, and happily, blissfully at 12 o'clock at night if I want to, and keep all the other things that I'm interested in going as well at the same time. It was just a weird belief. It didn't mean anything, but it meant everything in my physical body. And so here's the question for you. You don't have to know where that is, but is it somewhere in your body? Is there a program running that is literally draining the life out of you? So here's the thing. Did I or did I not actually have the potential for all the energy I have now? I did. It's just like your computer. If your computer has a virus running, it doesn't mean that your computer isn't receiving all the energy from the power source. It just means that the virus is taking most of it. Now, maybe that analogy isn't technologically right, but I hope you understand what I'm saying. So it's true. We have these programs that run in our systems. Maybe they're weird beliefs that actually don't make any sense, but maybe they're not. Maybe they're things that happen to us in our lives. Maybe they're ways we were raised that run in our background that maybe don't make quite sense to us. Maybe they're not congruent. Maybe we do them, but we don't know why we do. That's another way of a program running in the background that's draining energy. So what if you could get back like 10 or 15% of your energy? Would you want it? I do. So if you can remove one tiny little program that is like a gnat flying around in your energetic system, and you just remove it and it gives you back 5% of your energy, would you do it? I would. I am. So that's a thing. That's what we're working on with Cogno Movement. We know now that when people attend our events, they leave different and they stay different. The reason is that the technology actually does delete the programs. It works with the eyes, the ears, movement technology, eye accessing cues. We actually work some in the auric field actually, and the results are permanent. Now, it doesn't mean that something else doesn't move up under it that needs your attention and needs deleted as well, and that happens. But the programs that are deleted in a Cogno Movement session are deleted permanently, and the results of that are fantastic. I know that people go to a lot of things, and I've done it myself. I go looking for something. I'm searching. I get to an event, a seminar, either self-help or spiritual or educational, and I'm looking for a solution. And while I'm there, I feel great. I mean, the energy of the people is great. The energy of the speaker is great, and the ideas are amazing. And the availability of possibility is huge when I leave. As I get away from that event 2 days, 3 days out, if I don't continue to do that work, I don't retain that high energy. I don't retain the availability of possibility. That's what really gets your energy high. With Cogno Movement, that's not the same. I mean, of course you're there at the event and all these people are there with, you know, these amazing, amazing minds and stories and energy. And, you know, Bill McKenna's amazing and brings his energy, and, you know, and I'm there and bring my training skill, and it's awesome. But when people are leaving, we're hearing that their results actually get bigger afterwards. They're not diminished. They get bigger and stronger, and their lives are different. And they're describing being a different person. And I know as a facilitator, I leave a different person every time. And I get to hold on to that. I get to keep that. So that's the juicy piece. That's why we know that these programs are being literally deleted from your energetic system and staying gone. Now, you have free will, so you can take back energetic systems if you want to, new ones, because your brain can't find them the way they did before. They just don't exist. But you could take on a new one if you want to. You could have something else come up underneath. But for the most part, people are finding that they're leaving at a higher vibration and things below it don't match anymore. And so they're not taking on things below that new level, which is a fantastic and fascinating thing that's occurring. So think about this. What would you do if you had more energy? 5%, 10%, 50%, 90%? What could you do in your life and with your life if you had that much more energy? I mean, it's fantastic to think about. Now, the interesting thing about Cogno Movement is we can now delete something in as little as 3 minutes, 1 minute, 45 seconds. Some things take longer, like 10 minutes, but 10 minutes is nothing. So it leaves us free during an event to clear layer upon layer upon layer upon layer of program. So in a 2-day or a 3-day event, people are searching at the end for things to work on because they have ticked off those boxes of what they call problems in their lives and the effects of those problems. And they just aren't there anymore. They're just gone from the energetic and physical and emotional and spiritual systems. So that's pretty amazing at the end of an event for people to be like, I don't know what else to work on because I did it all. I mean, it's huge. So if you're interested in joining us, please go to cognomovement.com and look at upcoming events, because we have events likely coming near you. This October, there's an event, the 26th and the 27th. It's a Cogno Conscious event in San Diego on the water in Mission Bay. There is an event in Glendora, November, I think it's 2nd and 3rd, which is a 2-day practitioner intensive. It's the last 2-day that there'll be, and it's actually the last at the discounted price. So if you're in California, you're wanting to become a practitioner, the event in Glendora is the last one at the lower price. So attend there if you can. If you're in Massachusetts, there's an event happening November 15th, 16th, and 17th, which is an extended practitioner course with Bill McKenna's Secrets of the Masters that he will be doing live at that event. It looks like there are events forming in Indiana and also in Toronto towards the end of the year and the beginning of January. So look on upcoming events, see if there's a location near you, and come and regain your energy for 2020. Step in live, step in full force, full power into 2020 with all the energy that you had when you were a kid. I mean, think about the possibilities. Okay, guys, enough about that for now. Consider what programs are running, consider if you want to delete them, and if you want more energy. And come see me and Bill McKenna at an event. We'll talk soon. I'm Liz Larson with Transform One Idea. What's the smallest shift that can make the biggest change in your life today? Talk soon. Ciao for now. Bye.